Quleaqtuarput isagutingaruq ingilraan. Tareerumin isagutivluni. Ilisimatqugivsigin iñuniarniptikun iñuptinniklo. Parlagifsi, welcome to Ukpeaġvik Iñupiat Corporation, UIC. We are a shareholder-owned company, but as you will see in this video, we are not your typical corporate shareholders. We are whalers and subsistence hunters. We are stewards of our Iñupiat culture. And we are many companies united by the UIC mission to enhance the lives of our shareholders.
For anybody that's working for the company, I think it would be important to understand the Iñupiaq people and how we live. We're very communal people that have never gotten away from our way of life.
In this video, we will introduce you to our land, our culture, our values, and our corporation. It is our hope that you will take pride in being a part of the UIC family and in helping us protect the Iñupiat culture for generations to come. Thank you for watching. UIC is Alaska Native Village Corporation for Barrow, Alaska. It takes its name from the community's original Iñupiaq name, Ukpeaġvik, which means the place to hunt snowy owls.
Barrow, you're not going to see pavement unless you go to the runway, so it has that remote feeling.
Barrow is the northernmost community in America, bordered by the Beaufort and Chukchi Sea. There are no roads to get here. It takes a 3-hour flight from Anchorage. In the winter, the sun doesn't come up much, but in the summer, we have continuous daylight, and you can see for miles and miles in every direction.
When you look at the tundra, you'll see a lot of small animals. If you look close enough, a lot of birds, shorebirds, and then summertime, if you even look over the ocean, you can see belugas. If you looked when there's kind of a little ice left, and you could see walruses. Sometimes they'll come up on the beach. You could see bearded seals and seals. It's just more than beautiful.
When I'm out on the water, there's really no other feeling like it. I feel a lot of freedom just being out on the ice on the boat with my friends. In fact, when I was there this summer, I went out walrus hunting with my best friend. It was a very rare, calm day. We turned off the boat and we just sat there on the water. And the water was so glass and so calm that you couldn't distinguish where the ocean and the sky met. I mean, it all looked the same. And the only thing that differentiated it was the pieces of ice.
I call that ocean out there, it's my beautiful garden. Because I never go hungry as long as that ocean is out there.
Yes, I mean, we continue to subsist off the ocean in the land. We hunt for food. And that's basically what we continue to do, and we'd like to continue that with our children and keep teaching that to our children and for them to know that this continues today.
I don't know, it's just beautiful. Our land is beautiful.
The skills and knowledge to live off the land and sea have been passed on through generations.
And for hundreds and hundreds of years, our people have survived because of the knowledge and the wisdom that they have gotten from the elders. And most of the time, the younger folks were taught by the elders how to live, what to expect, how do you approach a nanook, how do you approach a whale. You know, you had to know these things in order to subsist on them.
I mean, I could build a dog sled if I wanted because my dad taught me how. I can build a cabin if I wanted because my dad taught me how. I can go out and hunt because my dad taught me how to hunt.
Thousands of years ago, our ancestors developed a deep understanding of the environment and its resources. They created hunting, fishing, and whaling tools and continually refined their techniques. When European whalers made contact in the 1800s, we incorporated their ideas with ours and we started trading. It wasn't until 1944 that a cash economy was even introduced.
You know, life before statehood was fairly simple for many on the North Slope. It consisted of subsistence hunting and looking forward to another hunt so the families could survive. There was little in the way of conveniences. We had to depend on driftwood or coal to heat the homes. The government was here as far as schools and the hospital and some other agencies, offered very few jobs for people. So many of our parents and grandparents spend their time in the summers out in their camps, hunting for food, preparing for the winters so that they would have enough food during the winter months to survive. The Navy started a camp they call Naval Arctic Research Lab in the 40s when they started looking for oil in the Naval Petroleum Reserve. And that was the beginning of a sort of a massive influx of Western society into Barrow.
Eventually, electricity replaced seal oil lamps. Snow machines replaced dog teams. But one thing that will never change is our Iñupiat values.
The Iñupiat culture is a very important part of our lives on the North Slope. It keeps us together for the common good of the people. Also allow us to live a way of life that we can depend on to celebrate successful hunts, share with the community, and work together to achieve things that you wouldn't necessarily be able to achieve without a community spirit being an important part of our lives on the North Slope.
We want to build a company based on the values that we share among each other, and whether it's cooperation, spirituality, humor, humility, all these things that have been passed down to us.
Well, certainly there were a lot of values that we hold dearly, but there's one thing that always stands out is that the love that is within the community, the love that is within a whaling crew, the love of being part of a company, working for a company.
You respect everything, absolutely everything. People, things, belongings, beliefs, religion. Respect everything. And you love your children.
Knowledge of our Iñupiaq language is very important. It is who we are as people. When I was growing up, we were punished for speaking Iñupiaq, even though that was the only language we knew. My generation is bilingual, but very few of our children can speak Iñupiaq, so we are working very hard to keep our language alive.
I think for our people it's important to preserve our language because we're a unique culture and tradition. And if we preserved our language, it would help our activity, our cultural activities. It would make them easier, I think. And it's just a big part of the Iñupiaq identity, along with whaling, is what the language is. So preserving the language is very important to me. I think my favorite is Pitkurokoktichipkainakti. It's a word I learned from my dad, and I asked him, hey, what's the longest word you know? And he said that. And it's someone who follows the law real well, I believe.
I'm not very fluent. I was part of the generation that kind of lost touch. When I hear it spoken, I can understand it. My parents who are fluent in Iñupiaq can have a conversation with my 6-year-old, and I'm sitting there like the black sheep. Okay, I can understand you guys, but I can't join in this conversation. So I think it's amazing what the North Slope Barrow School District is doing with the immersion program, with the Iñupiaq program to bring it back. It's amazing. It really is, because I know there's some cultures where it's dying, and a lot of them don't take it very seriously, but in the North Slope, it's taken very seriously.
I think it's very important, because the Iñupiaq language, you know, was never written down by our ancestors. Everything is passed down by telling stories.
The way we can preserve it is through Eskimo dancing. We teach them the words of the dances and we show them the motions.
Every dance tells a story, a different kind of story, and I love watching the different dance groups that perform, and just hearing them sing in Iñupiaq is very powerful. It's the feeling that I get is just like I'm home.
It's stories about our past, because these songs were made by people from a long time ago, and so it gives us a sense of connection to our past, because we're learning what they're trying to teach us by dancing. These are mukluks, and we use these to dance when we're performing. So it's seal skin and wolverine and polar bear seal, and these were made by a woman who actually chewed them. So yeah, back in the day, they'd chew it to tenderize it so they can shape it, and then they crimp it to make these nice little edges there, and so these are very special to me.
I think the most important thing in our culture to me is the sharing part. The sharing part is what keeps our community together. I would say, I think the world needs to do a little more sharing and giving so they could have a more peaceful life.
That's going to let me live to be 100 years old.
One of the things that I love doing is teaching other people how to build umiaks from the bottom on up. And for me to work with students that are willing to take in that knowledge, the hands-on training, it really touched my heart for them to actually come up with something, you know, that is 3D, three-dimensional. And it's just awesome.
To this day, our culture, our activities, and our way of life revolves all around whaling. Whaling feeds the community in many ways.
It's spiritual, it's mental, it's physical. So it's exciting. It's something that you're wanting to participate in. You're wanting to get out there, and you look back at history and the culture that we have, that we live in, the heritage that was handed down to us, and there's a sense of pride in everyone that take part in whaling and wanting to go out there, not only to eat fresh unalik, which is the skin and the blubber of the whale, the muktak, but to feed the community.
Whaling is something that we take seriously. We've been doing it on yearly basis for thousands of years. And it is something that is very much in us.
I guess you can call it whaling fever that time of the year, although you're in preparation mode almost year-round, from the hunting of the bearded seals in the summer for the skin of the boat, to catching the caribou and using the sinew from the legging of the caribou for the making of the threads, and everything in between.
You make the sinew from the tendons of a tutu. What you do is you flash freeze them, or you freeze them, and then you tear them into threads, and then you weave them together, and there you have the thread for the sinew. And the sinew is used for the skin boats, and it keeps them together, meaning the boat won't sink.
There's usually about anywhere from 9 to 12 skins. And there's usually a team anywhere from 10 to maybe 15 ladies that will get together and they will pray. It's because skin sewing is very important. Every stitch counts. You pretty much have the lives of everybody who is going to be in that skin boat when they go to harvest the whale. I still have yet to learn how to do this, and I'm beyond amazed by just the work that these women actually dedicate themselves to do this. It's just by far phenomenal, because not a lot of women are very blessed to know how to do this certain kind of stitch. So even though they get together and they visit and they like to talk, you'll see some women who are very fine in detail, really watching and just kind of making sure and just reviewing their work just to make sure that it's perfect.
Once that is completed and all those patch holes are patched up, the men take the frame, put the skin over the frame. There's a little preparation before the skin can go on the frame as well. We need to oil it down with the ring seal blubber. We have to oil the frame down so the skin's able to slide fairly easy, and to stretching it. Once the skin's been placed over the frame, we start lacing it to the frame as they're working together in unison, basically.
I've built a lot of boats for different crews over the years. I do it for enjoyment, and people try to pay me, and nah, we'll get paid from down the ocean.
During the early spring, there's excitement in the air. The season is coming upon us. You're getting ready. You're cleaning out the cellar. You're going through all of your equipment. You're preparing for going out on the ice to start chopping trail, looking at the ice conditions, and you work with other crews to go out to get out onto the lead.
It takes many hours of preparation. You can cut one trail just the width of the snow machine, and it takes probably 3 or 4 more weeks to get that trail widened out enough for you to tow your slit out and your whaling gear out onto the ice.
So there is a sense of excitement, not only in the air, but in the hearts of the hunters. It's an awesome time of the year.
Oh, we have to patiently wait. We don't go pursuing every whale. If the currents are too fast, we should not be out there because it creates a dangerous situation for us. So we have to monitor the ocean currents, the tide fluctuation, wind direction.
That east wind called Nigak, Ukpeaġvik. It's a good time to stay out there when there's open water, and whales come through sometimes right on the edge of the shore past ice, And
when we're out on the ocean, we're sitting in our skin boat, and we're waiting for the whales to come in paddling distance. And when they do, the men all hop into the boat and we start paddling to the whale. Before the Yankee whalers came in the late 1800s, they used to stab the whale to death when they were whaling. But when the Yankee whalers came, they brought the weapons that they used to kill whales, and they were the darting gun. And that's what I'm holding right now. And we also have the shoulder gun that we use also. We could try to kill it as quick as we can so that the whale doesn't suffer at all.
Once a whale is landed, the real work begins, and everything from feeding the community from the house to preparation for the whale feast, the Utqiaġvik, and the blanket toss feast, where several crews get together and have a big celebration and giving thanks to the Lord for the bountiful harvest that He has provided.
Ukpeaġvik is the skin of the whale that to us is a delicacy. And the quack is the whale meat that has been stored inside an ice cellar. What we're taught is we need to clean the ice cellar every year so the whale can have a clean place to be put away. That shows us we got respect for the whale.
That's how whaling has been done in Barrow since time began, and it still goes on the same today. The way we make the boat is the same. The way the women sew the boat skins together is the same. The way we distribute the whale at Thanksgiving, Christmas, and Utqiaġvik, it's all done the same. And we always thank God for the gift of the whale.
Any crew that catches a whale in Barrow, everybody is excited. Everybody will be yelling for joy. It's a very exciting time in Barrow.
Everything that I've learned from my dad and going out whaling has helped me to be a better business person. There's a connection there.
Basically, we've taken the principle of whaling and what it's all about. Number one, whaling is about serving your community. Number two, it's about working together, cooperation, and how much more you can serve your community by working together. In business, if you can work together, you can achieve more, make more profits, which translates into jobs and dividends. So we've kind of taken that principle and applied it to business.
UIC was founded in 1973 with this community spirit in mind. It was one of over 200 village corporations created under the provisions of the Alaska Native Claims Settlement Act, or ANCSA.
Everything started to change after a land claim, you know.
The settlement mandated that Alaska Natives give up a large portion of their traditional lands and all subsurface rights. In exchange, we received title to our remaining lands and money to create regional and village corporations. UIC land encompasses over 200,000 acres in and around Barrow. Many of our people were involved in the native claims negotiations and went on to set up our corporation. Our whalers and hunters became lobbyists and corporate executives overnight, and we rose to the challenge.
During that time, nobody knew how to do budgets or anything, but I had gotten back from business college from Lower 48, and I knew how to do a budget.
They have learned to compete in business, in construction, in oil field services, and the many different things that UIC does now. And here we are.
Today, the UIC family of companies employs thousands of people worldwide, and we continue to incorporate the values and traditions of our ancestors into our daily business practices. Our employees are also an important part of our success.
We're a company that strives and believes in our workers, whether they're from the Western society or Iñupiat Eskimos. We like them all because we are a family of companies and that we believe in their ability, and we thank them for taking the time to work with us. Every company strives for is good retirement, in treating their people fair, in the fairest way, and we really do thank them and love them for all the things that they do for us.
As a UIC employee, you are now a part of our story, so welcome to the UIC family. We hope that you will embrace our values in your work and in your personal life so that you may succeed in both. Pilrosivut atuhlui, anguneanikun, inyuneanikun, tareominakan nunami, koyanarev sigin unakinyaktuarafsiyon.